How's it going, guys? This is Justin. We went and saw Star Trek Into Darkness last night. Me, Jake, and that dude Blaze. Um, so why not review it? I'm relatively new to the Star Trek world. Never really watched the TV show. I remember seeing it on TV, and I just, I was a Star Wars guy, and back in my childhood. So I'd see Star Trek on TV, and I'd be like, okay, this is all right, but I never would like go out of my way to watch it. If it just came on TV, I wouldn't be like, oh, shoot, and just change it. But I'd be like, I wasn't like openly searching to watch Star Trek or whatever. But I saw the 2009 film just recently, actually, because again, I never had any connection to Star Trek at all, so I just didn't even see any interest in it. And some of my friends a few days ago were like, "Man, you need to see the old Star Trek, man. If you're because I had seen the trailers for this one, and I really wanted to see it. It's like, okay, I'll watch it. Really like the first one, by the way, just to throw that out there. Um. So, anyways, on to the movie. One thing I noticed about this movie, and it's not like I just noticed this and came up with this myself, because I watched interviews with J.J. Abrams talking. He did a really good job of having, and I know this because the crowd we were with was fantastic. He did a really good job of connecting, like, okay, we got to get some stuff for the Star Wars, Star Trek fans, so they don't feel like they're just like, oh, they're just pissed, like, ugh. But then also for the people, like me and other people that aren't, diehard into Star Trek, know everything about it. They did a good job of mixing those two. There'd be parts of the movie where something would happen, and like half the audience would be like, "Oh," and I'm just like, "I don't know what that means," but I respect that they know what that means because that means that's badass. So I was all sorts of excited for them. I was like, "Hey, you have your moment, guys," because there were some people in there having a great time, but you could definitely tell it was like that because it's not like I was ever confused. Like I felt like I couldn't watch this movie because I didn't watch the TV show, if that makes sense. Um, Even though it's a completely different time or whatever, alternate stuff. But that's a good thing because you don't want to be in there like feeling like I have no idea what's going on. But the thing about this movie was it was 2 hours and 20 something minutes, but it went by so fast, which is a good thing. That's happened. It was kind of like how The Dark Knight Rises was a really long movie, but you feel like, oh, okay. So the pacing was good, and me and Jake were actually talking about this once it was over. It was like the reason we liked this movie, well, part of it is because it wasn't just like the summer action movie where just people are fighting guns for 3 hours. It's like it actually had a story behind it. So it's like, oh, okay, we're doing this, and that's why we're fighting. Not just like you suck, and just like start fighting each other. There was like story behind everything that happened, so that it made every action sequence that much bigger because there was something behind it. It wasn't just like we're fighting because I'm a good guy and you're a bad guy, so let's battle. No, that wasn't the case. Like you felt like, okay, this should happen here because this guy did this to this guy and he's pissed and his girlfriend and they're flying and then there was a volcano. Like you know what I mean? Like it just it makes more sense that way. So I really like that there's an actual story, not just some random stuff like like shot him in the face. Um, the first couple minutes of the movie, I was a little confused. I'm like, I don't know where this is going. Like, I don't understand why this is what we're starting with. But after that, it kind of made more sense. but one thing, and I'll talk about like spoiler stuff at the end. I watched some reviews, and the format they do is better. They keep the reviews at the end because then if you don't want to hear about it, you don't have to. Don't want to just be like, oh, this happened. But one thing I will say about the pacing is I really like this movie, if you can tell. But one of the only gripes I had was, and it's a little thing. At the end, the ending was abrupt. I'll talk about it when we get to the spoiler part. You know and another good thing about this is all the actors. Like I feel like they cast the crew of this perfectly. Chris Pine is a perfect Captain Kirk. Zachary Quinto is a perfect Spock. Like, come on. And they got all the people. But Benedict Cumberbatch, oh my gosh. Benedict Cumberbatch, honestly, was the reason I wanted to see this movie. Like from the teaser trailer and all the trailers, just his voice, I'm like, this dude is gonna kick ass. He did not disappoint. He was phenomenal. And we'll talk about him again in a second. But oh my heavens! And then we had, I think there wasn't too many new people. My boy RoboCop was in there. And then Alice Eve, she's just some hot blonde chick. I can't remember what she was in. Like she's out of your league or something. She was in there. She just was hot, so that was good for her. She had one little, a couple things in there, but yeah, and like I said earlier, what made it more enjoyable was the crowd we saw it with was awesome because like I could respect like I'm not huge into Star Trek, but I could tell they were. And if it was flipped around, it was something I was huge into. Like I'm sure people would be like, "Whoa, I don't know what's going on," but that dude's really excited. And that's what it felt like to us. We were like, I don't know what just happened there, but it was they're freaking pumped. So that was fun. So that was cool. But now we are going to get into some spoilers. So if you have not seen Star Trek Into Darkness and you plan on seeing it or you care at all, don't watch this part of the video. You can come back and discuss it later. Because I'm going to talk about it right now. Khan is in this movie. Yeah, so if you're into this, obviously you know. I mean, I'm not even huge into Star Trek. I knew he was Khan because everyone, like, it's been everywhere. Like, I have the internet, so I can read. And everyone's denying it, like, oh, he's not Khan. He's not Khan. He's John Harrison. John Harrison, man of mystery. But Khan is in here, and Khan is the man. Khan was my favorite character in this. He was, well, again, Benedict Cumberbatch, the man. Oh my hell, he was just menacing as hell. He is just messing shit up. They just kept throwing swerves at you. You're like, is he okay? He's a bad guy. He killed people. Oh, wait a minute. He kind of explained why he killed those bad people. Maybe he has a point here. I have no idea whose side I should go for because this guy, I don't know who to believe. Oh, he is a dick. Okay. Oh, he stepped on the hot blonde chick, broke her leg. That's what a dick. Oh, he just shot everybody. Like, it was just like, oh, okay. Oh, he's really badass. He's way better at everything than everyone else. So I really loved Khan. He was my highlight of this movie. You can't tell by my voice, but the man. But how do I explain this? You knew. Oh, Captain Kirk dies for 5 minutes. You knew he wasn't gonna die. Like, come on, guys. You knew he wasn't gonna die. But you still had the moment. You felt the moment, but at the same time, you're like. And I remember right when they were in the scene where the little thing moves, I was telling Blaze like, they're gonna put Khan's super ass blood into him, and he's gonna come back. They did, so that was cool. But and then of course you had Spock doing the homage to the old where Khan, like you could tell he was like, this is my moment, man. I gotta yell really loud. So Zachary Quinto, boy. Speaking of Zachary Quinto, the only thing, one of the things I was confused about, I didn't understand it, but at the same time, it was it makes sense because when Leonard Nimoy, old Spock, comes up, he's like, I've dealt with Khan before. He was a son of a bitch. Like, I'm like, what are you doing? But at the same time, in the first one, you're introduced that and I guess in the second one, you can't just like know in your head that there's some like other old Spock running around. He's just not helping. Like, you got to bring him in. So that was okay, I guess. But and then what I was saying about the abrupt ending. After the yell, Spock goes after Khan, and that chase scene looked awesome, by the way. And that fight scene in general was really cool, and it was just like we said, the pacing was so fast that it kind of came abrupt because like right when it felt like it was, oh, this is the climax, all of a sudden they're like, oh, Captain Kirk wakes up in a hospital bed. You're like, oh, so they captured Khan, brought him back up to the Enterprise, took his blood, gave it to Kirk. Kirk woke up, and then they put Khan in a frozen cube again and put him back in the thing, and then it's done. But we didn't get to see any of that. That's my only gripe, really, is that abruptness. But besides that, I really loved this movie. Like, I really did. I'll go see it again. If you guys want to go see it, hit me up, man. I'm telling you. So yeah, that is it. Let me know in the comments section what you thought of Star Trek Into Darkness. Whether if you've seen it, tell me what you thought of it. If you haven't, tell me if you want to. If you don't care, That's fine. I didn't care about 2 weeks ago. I just got into it, so I respect that too. But yeah, this is Justin. I will talk to you guys later. Oh yeah, sorry. Oh, for had to do it.